Today I would like to talk to you about the law of accountability. Law number 9. The law of accountability says teammates must be able to count on one another. And I thought I would define accountability since it's not a word. Because when I was working on the laws, I said there has to be a law of accountability, but it's not a word called accountability. But you can't let things like that limit you. Because when I was working with my team and they said, well, that's not a word, I said, it has become one. And to define accountability, it's very simple. Accountability is the ability to count on someone when and where it counts. Now, isn't that a good definition? Huh? I mean, you can now go around and say, you know, I'm countable. Are you countable? The law of accountability says that you have the ability to count on someone when and where it counts. Now, we all know that there are some people you can count on when it doesn't count. And where it doesn't count. But I'm talking about when and where it counts. You can count on that person. Now let me just talk about counting on somebody. In fact, let's do a little audience participation on this for a moment, okay? I want you to give me the one word that comes to your mind when you think of somebody that you can count on. I mean, you think of somebody that really is countable, okay? You can count on them when and where you need to count. Give me, and there are probably like a half dozen one words. Give me a word.
Faithful.
Faithful. I love that word. That's a good word. Yes.
Loyal.
Loyal. Good word. Yes.
Character.
Character. Absolutely. Yes. Dependable. Yes, both of you. Dependable. Dependable. That's exactly the twins, I'm sure. Okay. Yes. Okay. Flexible. Maybe. Yes.
Consistency.
Consistency. This is good. Yes. Trustworthy. Okay. Now you've got the idea of a person that is countable. See, I defined a new word to you, and you already understand it. Now let me turn this around for a moment. Give me one word to define a person that's not countable. Think of a word that a person that you just don't count on them. Yes.
Unreliable.
Unreliable. Well, that's very good. Yes.
Hostile.
Hostile. You've got a picture of a person in your mind right now. You need to take that picture and go home and have target practice is what you need to do. Yes, clear up there. Selfish. You're done. Yes.
Dishonest.
What is it?
Dishonest.
Dishonest? Sure, you can't count on to be honest. Good. Yes, sir.
Lazy.
Lazy? You got a picture of somebody in your mind too, don't you? In fact, as you're giving me these one-word descriptions, isn't it true? You all have a picture of somebody? When I ask you to give me the one-word definition of a person that is countable, every one of you had the picture of somebody that you count on. When I said give me a one-word picture of somebody that's not countable, every one of you in your mind, you had the picture of someone. Every one of us in this room knows what it's like to be let down. How many of you have been let down by someone else sometime in your life? Now let me ask you another question. How many of you have let someone down someplace in your life? Yeah. Let me define and let me help us understand accountability by giving you 3 words. And by the way, the words you gave me were so good. In fact, the word I'm going to give you, the first word that you're going to fill in the blank, was a word that was given to me a moment ago in the studio. The word is character. Character plus competence plus consistency equals accountability. Look at those 3 words for a moment. Character. We've got to talk about it for a second. If you're going to be countable on the team, if the teammates are going to count on you, if the leader is going to count on you as a teammate, you have to have character. You have to have the right stuff on the inside. When I wrote the 21 qualities of a leader, I had a person say, well, now, why did you try to talk about the inside qualities of a leader? And I said, it's very simple. If you wouldn't follow yourself, why should anyone else? What's on the inside determines what comes outside. As a man or a woman thinks in her heart or his heart, so is he, so is she. So character has to be in this accountability definition. You've got to be right on the inside to do right on the outside. Okay? Competence, though, that's got to be in there. Let me put it this way. If we're a team and we're getting ready to go into the big event, and you have all the best character in the world, I mean, you're trustworthy, you're honest, you're kind, I mean, you've got all these great character traits. Let me say something. If you're not competent, I can't count on you. And the reason I can't count on you is because you don't have the competence or the ability to perform on the level that the team requires. So it's true that character is important, but character alone doesn't make you countable. But by the way, competence alone doesn't make you countable either. Don't you know some people that are very competent, but they don't have any character? The good news is they're going to get there. The bad news is you don't trust them. The good news is they're going to take the train and arrive. The bad news is you don't want to be on the train. So they have character and they have competence. You've got to have both. This is not an either-or thing. Character plus competence. Now, yet I know some people, they've got good character, they're competent, but I still don't count on them. And the reason I don't count on them is because they're not consistent. The third word is consistency. Now, when you can put those three words together, they have character, they have competence, and they are consistent. Now you're talking about a person that has countability. Earlier in one of the other training tapes on the teamwork laws, I referred very quickly and briefly to the law of the inner circle. That's a leadership law out of the 21 irrefutable laws of leadership. And that law of the inner circle basically says those closest to you determine the level of your success. Those closest around you. In other words, your success or failure very seldom is dependent upon all the people out there. It almost always is dependent upon the few people right here. Now, the reason I'm going back and talking briefly about the law of the inner circle is that when I think of accountability as far as a law of teamwork, here's what I want you to know. Every inner circle member that I have, it's only about a dozen, but every inner circle member that I have, of all the teamwork laws they have to be a 10 on, of all the teamwork laws they have to be a 10 on, let me tell you something right now. This is the law. I would not have an inner circle member that did not make a 10 on this law. I have to count on my inner circle people. If I question their character, they can't be on the inner circle. If they are incompetent, they cannot be on the inner circle. If they lack consistency, they cannot be on the inner circle because too much is going on and we have too many things to accomplish for me to somehow have an inner circle member that breaks the law of accountability. I want to encourage you. Time out just for a moment. I want to encourage you. When you go back to your team, when you go back to the inner circle, not the whole team, but the 2 or 3 people or the 5 or 6 people, those that are on your inner circle, those that are going to make you or break you, those that are closest to you, go back and ask this very simple question. Are they accountable? Do they have character? Are they competent? And then do they do both with consistency? If you can say yes to those 3 things, you have a potential inner circle member. If you say no to one of those 3, never let them on the inside. I promise you, if you have an inner circle member that is not countable, it is only a matter of time until they'll hurt you. Coach Bill McCartney, who for many years was the football coach for the University of Colorado, later years has become the leader of the Promise Keepers movement across America. Coach Mack is a very good friend of mine, and he's a marvelous motivator. And one of the things I like to do when I'm with Coach a little bit is I like to talk to him about how he got the best out of his team. Because at the University of Colorado, when he was coach there, his team became #1 in the nation. And so he had consistently winning good teams. And so a lot of times I'll say, Coach, talk to me about your team. And he said, John, one of the things I did one year, and so I asked him, how did you really get your players up for the big game? You know, when Colorado's playing Nebraska, when they're playing Oklahoma, the big games, how did you get your team up? He said one year, he said the week before we were to play Nebraska, which was our chief rival, and Nebraska usually dominated Colorado until Coach Mack went there. He said we were going to play at Nebraska, and I think University of Colorado maybe had never won at Nebraska, but it was a game of which kind of like a David and Goliath deal. So he said I took a football, and he said I gave it to every player on the team. And he said, I want you to take this football, and I want you to dedicate this football and this game to someone you greatly love. It can be a brother back home. Maybe it's your mom. Maybe it's your high school coach. But somebody you greatly love and respect. He said, in fact, I want you to write him a letter. And he said, what I want you to do is I want you to write him a letter and say, I'm dedicating my play when we play Nebraska to you. And he said, what I want you to do is hold the football this week. He said, after we play Nebraska, we'll put the score on the football. And that game, they defeated Nebraska soundly. And Coach told me, he said, John, I have no question the players played above their head because he said they became, here's the word, countable to somebody they respected and loved. In fact, he said many times before a big game, he said, I would go to a player and I would walk up to him and I'd say, let me ask you a question. What are you going to do in this game to help us win? And you know, he said the players are tempted to say, well, I'm going to work hard, I'm going to really play my best, coach. And he said, it's not enough. No, I'm not asking you if you're going to work hard. He said, I always expect that from my whole team. He said, what are you going to do in this game that'll help us win? Coach, I'm going to cause somebody to fumble. I'm going to recover a fumble. I'm going to intercept a pass. I'm going to run for a touchdown. I'm going to open the hole for the back. He said, I made every player tell me what specifically they were going to do in that game to bring a victory to us. And he said, when they spelled it out during the game, he said many times, he said, I'd go up to a player and say, do you remember what you said you're going to bring help us bring victory? Yes. Have you done it yet? Have you done it yet? Tremendous teaching on being accountable. So here's the accountability test, because I love this statement. The highest compliment a leader can give a team member is to count on him or her. In other words, the highest compliment that somebody can ever give you is the fact that they look at you with great integrity and say, I'm counting on you. I'm counting on you. So, 3 questions, very simple. Is my character solid? I don't know. You're going to do this for yourself, between a 1 and a 10. 10 being you've got solid character. 1 being you're in trouble. Am I confident in my responsibilities? Am I consistent in my character and competence? And you know what? I would hope, you may not be there now, but I would hope I think to be accountable, you ought to be somewhere at least in the number 7 range on all 3 of those. And maybe you are today, maybe you aren't today. That isn't the issue. It's you got to start somewhere and take the accountability test. Let me illustrate this way. I think I want to take this law and really illustrate it the best way that I possibly can. Because this law of accountability for the team and for the team players is absolutely huge. So let me just be a little bit personal with you, if I could be. I have what I call a John Maxwell accountability count. In other words, I keep track of my accountability. Now, to keep track of your accountability, the first thing you got to ask yourself, who am I accountable to? And in my situation, it's going to be different than your situation, although some of the things will be very similar. I lead a wonderful organization called the Enjoy Group that basically is a umbrella for 3 different companies. I'm accountable to the people in my nonprofit ministry, Equip. I'm accountable to people in Enjoy Stewardship Services. I'm accountable to people in Enjoy. Because I'm the founder, because I'm the leader, I'm accountable to a lot of people. What I say, what I do, how I behave, major accountability. But I'm accountable not only that, but because I write books. And I've written a few now. And because I write books, people, when they buy a Maxwell book, they have a certain expectation. So every time I write a new book, one of the things that weighs heavily upon me is this book's got to be better than the last one. I can't coast on my popularity. I can't somehow just write off a book real fast that's not my best effort and hope that people will buy it because they've bought other Maxwell books. And I know this, if they buy a book that's not what it should be or not what it could be, they're going to be greatly disappointed. And I don't want to do that. I'm accountable to my readers. And when I go speak, you know what? I'm accountable to the people I speak to. I was up at 4:30 this morning. Now, I wrote the book, The Laws of Teamwork. What was I doing this morning at 4:30? Sitting at my desk, reviewing the laws of teamwork. Because the author is going to speak. And he better know his subject. See, I'm accountable to you. You folks came today. Many of you came from out of state, flew in. Many of you drove a long distance. You've paid a price to come here. Can I tell you something? I can't take that lightly. You didn't come here to hear somebody get up there and just talk and waste your time. You came to hear somebody that's going to add value to your life. So when I come out here today, it's more than cameras and lights and training videos. This is the real deal. I'm accountable to you. Can I tell you something? A leader is in trouble when they start to slide their accountability. I'm not only accountable to you as an audience, or places where I go for companies and corporations, they pay pretty good dollars to fly me in to help their teams get better and add value to them. And I'm here to tell you, they don't pay me those dollars to get in there and just tell a funny story and motivate them. I'm more than a motivational speaker, I'm a motivational teacher. My goal is not just to make you feel good. I want you to feel good, but I want you to feel good and learn something. That's better than feeling bad and learning nothing. I'm accountable. When this day is over, you're going to say either this was a good day or this wasn't a good day. He either added value to me and took me to another level, or I should have done something else. I'm accountable. And when I get home, I have my wife, Margaret, been married to her now. You're waiting, aren't you? 32 years plus. She's only 35. She's my best friend. I'm accountable to her. And to my 2 married children. And my 2 in-laws. And to my 2 grandchildren. Oh, I got 2 granddaughters. Madeline and Hannah. Both under a year. Both children. First only girls to be born without sin. It's an incredible story. I'm accountable. In fact, let me help you get this accountability thing really straightened out in your life. I'm going to define success for you. I think success can be easily defined this way. Those closest to me love and respect me the most. Now let me explain that to you, so just make sure you get it. This is simple. This afternoon, late this afternoon, I'll go home. Margaret's my best friend. Can I tell you something? There's something wrong with me as a leader or as a team player when people who don't know me well love and respect me more than those who know me well. So I want you to like me. You should. If you're discerning and have good taste. You should. I like you. I want you to like me. But I just want everybody to understand in the studio and everybody watching the video on this incredible law of teamwork, accountability. What I want you to know is, although I want you to like me, it's not near as important for you to like me and respect me as my wife Margaret and my kids. Hello. You see, if those who know me the least like me the best, there's probably something wrong with my character. And I'll just close the law off because I don't want to just get my personal faith in here, but I believe there's a day when I'm also going to be accountable to God. I'm going to have to answer the big question. What have I done with my life? Have I added value to people? Have I climbed the ladder of success only to find out when I got to the top it was leaning against the wrong building? Here's what I know. When I go in with my teammates into the big event, I want those on my left and I want those on my right to be countable. But the person I want to be countable the most is me. Because most of the victories that I have to struggle with are not with others. They're with me. And if I can lead myself, then perhaps I'll be privileged to lead others.